It's wild to see how things come full circle, isn't it?
How so?
Well, there's this definite buzz again around grappling, that close quarters fighting.
Ah, yeah. Ground fighting. It wasn't always in the spotlight like this.
Right. It makes you think back to the golden age of wrestling.
Late 1800s, early 1900s.
Exactly, that stretch. Guys like Hackenschmidt, Pagello, Sabisco. I mean, these were household names.
Real celebrities, they packed arenas. Their world was the wrestling mat.
And it wasn't just, like, for show, was it?
No, not at all. These were serious contests, real athleticism, real skill.
The popularity back then, it really highlights something, doesn't it?
Definitely. That kind of primal fascination with the up-close physical battle for dominance?
Exactly. And that's pretty much the territory we're exploring in this deep dive.
Okay.
We've been digging into Jeff Thompson's book, The Throws and Takedowns of Freestyle Wrestling.
Jeff Thompson. Oh, okay. He's got some serious background.
Oh, yeah. Over 20 books. His autobiography, Watch My Back, about his time as a doorman. Intense stuff.
Right, the nightclub doorman experience. That definitely shapes his perspective.
For sure. And he's got the formal credentials, too. 6th Dan in Japanese karate.
That's a very high level.
Yeah, 1st Dan in judo, senior instructor in wrestling martial arts. He trained at the Birmingham Wrestling Club, too.
With some legit people, right? Jim Alt, Chris Whelan.
USA champion, yeah. And Dave Turton, the catch wrestling expert.
Catch wrestling. Known for being pretty aggressive, lots of submissions.
So what immediately grabs you is how that real-world experience comes through.
The doorman stuff, it gives him this, like, practical understanding of what actually works when things get messy.
Exactly. Outside the dojo,
Yeah, away from the mats and the rules.
And that's such a crucial lens. It's a key takeaway from the book, really. How vital throws and takedowns are for a complete skill set.
Especially for self-defense, not just sport.
He's very clear on that. If you only focus on striking or only on grappling,
You're leaving yourself open, vulnerable.
you need that whole package.
It makes sense. You see these trends in martial arts, right? Sometimes striking is big, sometimes grappling gets the focus, like maybe now.
Yeah.
But Thompson's message seems pretty timeless. True mastery is in integrating it all, moving between ranges.
Okay, so let's get into the nuts and bolts.
Let's do it.
Jeff starts right at the beginning. Chapter 1. Balance, stance, grip.
The absolute foundations. Sounds basic, but
But he hammers home how critical they are in wrestling. He even talks about his own early days.
at the Birmingham Club?
Yeah, says he spent more time getting thrown than throwing because his balance was just off.
Huh. Anyone who starts grappling knows that feeling. Constantly off balance.
It's a powerful lesson though, right? Makes you hyper aware of your weight.
Totally. Where your weight is, how to stay stable, and how to mess with your opponent's stability.
And freestyle wrestling because you can attack the legs.
Unlike Greco or Judo, which are more upper body.
Right. So the stance is noticeably lower. He talks about starting in a low straddle.
Kind of like...
Yeah, but then shifting to this 45-degree wedge stance when you attack.
Okay, the wedge stance. Where's the weight meant to be?
Just behind the heel of the front foot, he says.
Right, that lower, wider base.
Yep.
Makes sense for shooting and for leg attacks, but also defending them.
More solid.
Yeah, and that 45-degree angle,
Mm-hmm.
it's a good compromise, isn't it? It lets you move forward, but you still have lateral stability.
Like a boxer, ready to spring.
Kind of, yeah. Ready for anything.
He really stresses how this stance helps you attack and react quickly if they shoot on you.
It's all about being ready to shift that weight instantly.
It's a constant dance. Offense, defense.
And stance is the bedrock. You can't launch anything powerful or defend well if you're not grounded.
Okay, then grips. He says the basic grip for starting a throw.
Yeah.
Left hand on their right triceps, right hand on the back of their neck.
Standard collar and elbow tie-up, basically.
But he makes it clear, at a higher level, it's a real fight for dominant grip.
Oh, absolutely. Grip fighting is crucial.
He said it took him almost a year to get his grip work sorted.
Wow.
But once he did, his whole wrestling game improved massively.
That tells you everything, doesn't it? A dominant grip lets you control them, dictate the pace, get the leverage.
It's often the first battle in any exchange.
Definitely.
He walks through a few variations too. Grab finger grip, wrist grip.
Grab back of hand and wrist, palm to palm.
Palm to bicep.
Mm.
And he gives a pretty strong warning.
Oh.
Intertwining your fingers. Says it's a super easy way to dislocate them.
Ouch. Yeah, that's practical advice. You're dealing with dynamic forces, awkward angles.
Yeah.
Got to protect the small joints.
For sure. Keep that in mind, folks.
So stance, grip, what's next? Breaking balance.
Exactly. He talks about breaking their balance. Says it's fundamental across all grappling.
Makes sense. Can't throw someone who's perfectly stable.
It's about pushes, pulls, different directions.
Yeah.
Or even faking one throw to set up another.
Misdirection. Kuzushi in judo terms.
Right. Pushing or pulling them off balance, left rear, straight back.
Or even pulling them towards you. Or down.
Anything to make them take that step, lose their stable base, become vulnerable.
That's the key to all throws, really. Manipulating their center of gravity, making them unstable, then applying the leverage.
He also gets into stiff arming.
Ah, yeah. Everyone runs into that. Someone just locks their arms out, uses strength.
Keeps you at a distance. Jeff says, in sport, you use good grip work, flow, energy.
Right. Technique over strength.
But on the street, he's pretty direct.
Let me guess. Doesn't worry about the rules.
Basically. Sometimes a quick strike head, chin, groin distracts them, creates the opening.
The old judo concept, blow before throw.
He mentions that exact phrase.
That distinction between sport rules and self-defense realities is vital, isn't it?
Absolutely. Your goal on the street is neutralize the threat. Fast. Effectively.
Yeah.
Might need tactics not allowed in competition.
The blow before throw recognizes you might need to create that opening first.
And one last point in this first chapter. He makes a great case for why wrestling throws are so good for the street.
Because they don't rely on clothes.
Exactly. They mainly use limb grabs, not specific clothing grips like, say, a judo gi.
Which you might not have in a real fight.
So freestyle Greco. They really shine there. Much more adaptable.
That's a huge advantage. Techniques that work regardless of what someone's wearing. Focus on controlling the body itself.
All right, let's move on to the actual throws, the exciting part.
Let's get into it.
Chapter 2, the cross buttock. Jeff points out it's common in lots of wrestling styles.
But freestyle has its own flavor.
Yeah, often uses a headlock grip, not a waist grip, and usually a deeper hip turn.
That headlock gives you tons of control over the head and neck. Good for setting up the throw.
And the deeper hip turn, more lever.
Maximum leverage, yeah. To lift and whip them over your back.
So the technique from the headlock.
Yeah.
Turn your back, your butt, into their lower stomach.
Get low. Bend the knees deep.
And pull them over the small of your back with that headlock.
That sounds effective. What if they resist?
Good question. He discusses variations. You can try dropping to your knees.
Changes the level.
Or use a leg prop. Place your right leg across the right leg. Transition to a body drop.
Ah, nice. Having those plan Bs is crucial. A resisting opponent isn't just going to cooperate. That leg prop changes the angle, disrupts their balance differently. It's smart.
He also describes the waist grip version.
Yeah.
And taking the grip under the right armpit. Another option.
Different ways to secure the upper body.
And if they try to counter by widening their stance, pulling back.
The classic defense. Lowering their center of gravity.
He suggests thrusting your leg between theirs to trip them.
Use their defense against them. Break their base.
He even mentions adapting if they shift weight forward, adding a sweeping leg move. Kind of like
Harai Goshi from judo.
Yeah, that kind of sweeping action. It's great detail on troubleshooting when things go sideways.
That's the hallmark of a practical approach, isn't it? Not just the perfect scenario, but how to handle reactions.
Yeah.
How to adapt in real time.
Makes a technique actually useful.
Exactly.
Okay, chapter 3, the flying mare, or shoulder throw.
Another classic. See it in lots of grappling arts.
Right. And again, freestyle does it effectively without needing clothing grips.
How's the technique breakdown?
Grab their right wrist, turn your back into their belly.
Then inside.
Thrust your right arm high under their armpit. Bend your knees, get low.
Crucial part, getting low.
Then straighten your legs powerfully. Lift and throw them right over your shoulder using both arms.
Can be a really dynamic, high-impact throw when done right.
Looks like it.
Getting your center of gravity low, then that explosive leg drive upwards generates huge force, lifts them right off their feet.
And just like the cross buttock, he talks variations for resistance.
Dropping to the knees, leg plop.
Yep. Drop to knees, or use a leg prop for a body drop. Also, countering if they spread their legs and pull back.
Trip them again.
Trip them. And if they shift weight forward, add that right leg sweep.
Consistent principles.
There's even another counter he describes, an outside reaping throw. You twist to face them, hook your leg around the outside of theirs.
It's like an Osoto Gari type move.
Yeah, sweeps them backwards.
Yeah.
Multiple options again.
The more tools you have, the better. Each variation attacks their balance from a slightly different angle, ups your chances even when they're fighting it.
Next up, chapter 4, standing arm roll.
Okay.
Jeff calls this a typical freestyle or Greco throw. And again, really useful for self-defense because...
So clothing grips needed.
Bingo. Technique.
Oh,
Grab their right wrist with your left hand. Turn into them. Sweep your right arm across their face and over their right arm.
the overhook.
Pull it tight under your armpit. As you pull them forward, bend your left leg, drive your right leg in front of their ankle,
Blocking their movement, creating a pivot.
and then body drop them. Pull hard with both arms. Sounds pretty decisive.
It is. That overhook gives massive upper body control. Combine that with blocking the leg, you create a fulcrum, rotate them right down. Very practical without the guy.
Chapter 5 gets into leg attacks. Jeff really emphasizes these are central to freestyle,
Oh, yeah. That's a major difference from Greco.
and he highlights the double leg pickup, calls it explosive.
It definitely is. One of the most common takedowns for a reason.
The technique. Quickly thrust their arms up as they reach for a grip.
Disrupt their posture, break their connection.
Lunge forward and low, left leg leads. Wrap your arms tight around their upper thighs.
Head position important here.
Head to their thigh, he says. Lift them.
Yeah.
Pivot behind them to your left. Wrap your left arm around their
For
waist.
securing the body.
And then drive them down to the mat. Tip their head downwards as you do. Sounds powerful.
It's a classic for a reason. Get low, get both legs, eliminate their base. The lift and finish become much easier. That initial arm thrust is key to create the opening.
He even gives a counter if they manage to reach over your back during the lift.
The sprawl defense. Or trying to lock around you.
Yeah? He says just continue driving through with your right leg and use it to heel trip their left leg.
Power through and take out the remaining support. Smart.
And he really stresses here, drill, drill, drill. Throws, counters, until it's automatic.
Muscle memory, absolutely vital. You can't be thinking through steps under pressure. Your body just has to react instinctively.
That's how you make it work when it counts.
No doubt.
Okay, chapter 6, single leg takedown.
Another staple.
Jeff makes an interesting point here. He says when you're first learning, it's all mechanics. Get the move right.
Makes sense.
But as you get better, the setup becomes way more critical, especially against skilled opponents.
Reading their energy, creating openings, timing.
Yeah.
But he thinks in street encounters, the setup isn't always as crucial.
Because untrained people often give you openings, give you the energy.
That's his take. They make mistakes you can exploit. He also admits single legs are his personal favorite in freestyle.
Even though they can be tiring.
Yeah. Says they require energy, but he likes them.
They offer a different angle than the double, right? Focus on one leg, sometimes easier to slip past defenses.
But maybe harder to finish.
Can be. Controlling that one leg while they're hopping and fighting needs good technique and timing. He describes the technique from a bicep control grip. Lunge forward, low again.
Pick up the leg at the back of the knee.
Slide your hand down to their heel, other palm on their thigh.
Okay, I got the leg secured.
Then pull the leg back while pushing down and around with your palm on the thigh to take them over.
Using leverage to break their posture and sweep the support leg.
And a counter if they lean forward and grab under your arm.
Trying to stop the lift. Maybe go for a whizzer.
Yeah. He says just shoot behind them. Force them down onto their belly.
Take the back. Good option.
And again, drill. Techniques alone, techniques in combination.
Key.
Constant repetition. Bridges that gap between knowing it and doing it. Refines timing, coordination, power.
Finally, Chapter 7. The fireman's carry.
Ah, fun one.
Versatile.
He explains you can do it standing or kneeling. Starts with standing,
Okay.
duck under their arms, drive one leg between theirs, crouch deep, straight back.
Getting underneath their center of gravity.
Wrap an arm around the back of their thigh or knee, or even higher up their back. Straighten your legs, lift them onto your back,
Got him loaded up.
and slam them down.
Yeah.
He also says you can throw them straight forward or backward too. Options.
Yeah, once they're up there, you control their weight. Lots of finishes, powerful slam, forward throw, backward drop. Very versatile.
Then the kneeling version, similar entry.
But you land on your knees between their legs.
Right. Wrap an arm around one leg.
Yeah.
Roll them over your shoulder.
A slightly different dynamic, maybe lower risk than the standing lift sometimes.
And he covers a counter if they sprawl during the kneeling lift.
That's a common defense against the firemen's. They try to get their weight back, hips down,
He says tighten your arm grip and barrel roll to throw them anyway.
use their momentum, roll through it. Nice counter. It's really valuable he includes those what ifs.
Definitely. Thinking ahead.
Anticipating reactions, having contingency plans. That's what separates good grapplers from skilled ones. Being able to transition when your first move gets stuffed, that's high-level stuff.
So wrapping this deep dive up, it feels like Jeff Thompson makes a really strong case, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Freestyle wrestling offers incredibly practical, effective throws and takedowns.
Not just for sport, but for real-world self-defense, too.
Definitely. And he keeps coming back to those core principles.
Balance, stance, grip, the foundation. You absolutely need it.
Yeah. Without those fundamentals locked in, even the fanciest throws are unreliable. They're the bedrock for everything else.
And he's very upfront that this book is just an intro, right?
Yeah, he stresses that. You need hands-on practice. Good teacher, good trained partners.
You can't just read about it. You need to feel it. Feel the resistance, the balance shifts.
That experiential learning is crucial. Develop that kinesthetic awareness, that feel, only comes from live training.
And it's vital to remember his caution about real confrontations.
The flight above fight idea.
Yeah. Prioritize avoidance whenever possible. And if you have to get physical.
Striking first. Primary tool.
Grappling, these throws, they're more secondary support.
Yeah.
Control after a strike.
That's his pragmatic advice. Comes from that real-world experience. In a chaotic street fight, a quick strike might be more effective initially. Grappling follows up, or controls.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? This whole idea of balance, disrupting
It
stability.
applies way beyond fighting.
Totally. You can see those principles everywhere. Negotiations, overcoming challenges, just understanding systems.
How to stay grounded yourself and maybe shift someone else's footing, metaphorically speaking.
Exactly. It's definitely something valuable to mull over.